Caught my wife cheating, and what I found will shock you. The lies, the betrayal, and the hidden affair that changed everything. You won't believe what happened next. Part 1. Introduction. Hey everyone, I never thought I'd be posting something like this, but here I am. I'm in my late 30s and I've been married to my wife for about 10 years. We don't have kids, so it's just been the two of us. To be honest, I thought we had a pretty solid marriage, at least on the surface. Sure, we had our fights now and then, but nothing that seemed like it would tear us apart. Lately, though, things have been off. My wife has been acting distant, weirdly defensive about things, and just generally different. At first, I chalked it up to her work stress. She's been putting in crazy hours lately, which I totally understood. But as time went on, the changes became more noticeable and that nagging feeling in my gut wouldn't go away. I started to notice things that didn't add up, and that's when I started to question what was really going on. I wish I had listened to my instincts sooner. I should have known better. It's hard to even say this, but I think I've always trusted her too much. I guess when you're with someone for so long, you convince yourself that the worst could never happen to you. You hear about other people's problems and you assume you're different. So, when the first little signs came up, I ignored them. I shouldn't have. Part 2. Discovery. So here's how it all went down. It started with small things. Her phone. She used to leave it lying around all the time, but recently she started keeping it close to her. She'd take it with her everywhere, even to the bathroom. When she was on it, she'd either minimize the screen or turn it face down, which was so out of character for her. At first, I thought maybe she's just trying to be more private or whatever, but then there was one specific moment that made me start putting the pieces together. One evening, she was in the kitchen and I was in the living room just scrolling through my phone. Her phone buzzed on the counter and I don't know why, but I felt this intense urge to just look at it. I told myself I shouldn't, but my curiosity got the better of me. I grabbed it and the screen lit up with a message from a contact I didn't recognize, just a number, no name. The message read, "I miss you, can't wait to see you again. Last time was amazing." My heart literally stopped. I didn't know what to think. I tried to calm myself down, but my mind was racing. I decided not to confront her right then and there because I didn't want to jump to conclusions. But at the same time, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was horribly wrong. Over the next few days, I kept an eye out, hoping it was just a misunderstanding. But no, things got worse. She started coming home later than usual, claiming she was caught up at work or out with friends. She'd barely respond to my texts, and when we did talk, it felt like she was just going through the motions. But the real bombshell came when I was looking for something in the drawer where she keeps her makeup and random stuff. I found a receipt for a hotel in another city dated last weekend. I immediately checked the name on the receipt and my stomach dropped. The hotel was a well-known spot for, well, let's just say it wasn't a place you stayed for a work trip. I felt my heart drop into my stomach. It was like the world had gone silent. I didn't need more proof. I already knew what was happening, even if I wasn't ready to admit it. I was furious, confused, and heartbroken all at once. Part 3. Confrontation. I couldn't sit on it any longer. I had to confront her. But man, I wasn't ready for the conversation to go the way it did. That night, when she got home, late, of course, I was sitting on the couch, holding the hotel receipt in my hand. She barely even looked at me when she walked in. I don't know why, but she had this smug little smile on her face, like she had just come back from something she enjoyed. I was already on edge, so I threw the receipt on the coffee table and just asked, "Where were you last weekend?" She froze for a second. And I swear, if I wasn't so angry, I might have been impressed by how quickly she tried to compose herself. She looked at the receipt, then back at me, and in the most casual tone said, "I went to a conference. For work." Why? I couldn't believe it. The way she said it was so matter-of-fact, like she expected me to just buy it. I stared at her, completely dumbfounded, and asked, "A conference at a hotel? Really?" She shifted uncomfortably but immediately went into full defense mode. "What is this, an interrogation? I told you it was for work. God, can't you just trust me for once?" I wanted to explode, but I just stayed calm, at least on the outside. "Really? Trust you? Because you've been acting weird for weeks now. Your phone is always glued to you. You're coming home late. And now I find this hotel receipt that doesn't make any sense. Don't lie to me." She rolled her eyes like I was the unreasonable one. "Oh my God. You're unbelievable. It's just a stupid work trip. Can you not accuse me of cheating? That's ridiculous." But it didn't stop there. The lies just kept coming. She said things like, "You know I love you, and you're being paranoid," and even tried to make me feel guilty for questioning her in the first place. She blamed it all on me. Not being trusting enough, not giving her space. Like I was the one with the problem. I could feel my blood boiling, but I knew deep down that this was her play, to gaslight me into thinking I was the crazy one. It was working, at least for a second. But I just couldn't shake the fact that the evidence was right in front of me. I had to stand my ground, even if it felt like the floor was about to fall out from beneath me. So, I looked at her and said, I know everything. I know you're lying. And I'm done." She stopped cold. For a moment, I saw a flash of something in her eyes. Guilt? Maybe? But it was quickly replaced by anger. She crossed her arms and said, "Well, if you're done, then maybe we should just call it quits. I'm tired of you not trusting me." And with that, she stormed out of the room. I stood there, completely shaken, trying to process what just happened. I had just confronted her. She didn't even try to deny it once it was out in the open. I felt this cold, hollow feeling in my chest, like I had just lost a part of myself. Part 4. Emotional impact. I didn't know how to feel. Part of me wanted to scream, to throw something, to punch the wall. Another part of me wanted to curl up in a ball and cry. I had so many questions racing through my mind, but I was too angry to think straight. My wife, the person I thought I knew better than anyone, had betrayed me in a way I didn't even know was possible. And for what? Some guy? I couldn't even wrap my head around it. The next few hours were a blur. She didn't come back until late that night, and when she did, she acted like everything was normal, as if nothing had happened. She didn't apologize. She didn't offer an explanation. She just acted cold, distant, and like I was the one in the wrong for confronting her. I couldn't even look at her. Every time she said something, I felt like I was listening to a stranger. It wasn't her anymore. I tried to sleep, but my mind wouldn't shut off. The betrayal kept swirling in my head, and the worst part? I was actually second-guessing myself. I kept thinking, did I misinterpret everything? Maybe I was just overreacting? But no, deep down I knew I wasn't. She had lied, plain and simple. The next day, when I got home from work, she wasn't there. I didn't know where she went, and part of me didn't even care. But another part of me still felt that sick feeling in my stomach. I had lost someone I trusted more than anything, and it was like the ground beneath me had given way. I couldn't stop thinking about the lies, the secrecy. It was like I didn't even know who she was anymore. I kept thinking about how I'd let this happen. I had ignored the warning signs. I had trusted her when I shouldn't have. I kept asking myself why I didn't see the red flags earlier. I felt weak, ashamed, and completely blindsided. And then, in the silence of the house, I just broke down. I sat on the couch, tears flooding my face, and all I could think about was how everything had changed. This wasn't the life I had imagined for us. I'd been living in a lie. It felt like the love I thought we had was nothing but a shadow. I wasn't angry anymore. I was just sad. I was devastated. And worse, I felt completely alone. Part 5. Decision and resolution. It took a few days for me to even be able to think clearly about what I wanted. Honestly, I was so emotionally exhausted that even the thought of talking to her again felt like too much. But eventually, I knew I had to figure out what I was going to do, because I couldn't keep living in this limbo, feeling like I was being torn apart inside. I didn't want to make any impulsive decisions, but there were so many things I was realizing in that time. First off, this wasn't just about one mistake. It wasn't some slip-up or misunderstanding. My wife had been lying to me for who knows how long, and when I confronted her, she didn't even try to fix it. She didn't even apologize. She gaslighted me and blamed everything on me, and that, more than anything, hurt. I spent the next few days really reflecting on everything. I thought about what I deserved, not just in terms of being loved, but in terms of respect and honesty. I thought about the person I wanted to be and the kind of relationship I wanted to have. And I realized that I didn't deserve to be treated like this. I couldn't keep begging for someone's trust when they were more than willing to break mine. So I made the decision. I wasn't going to stay in a relationship where I was constantly questioning my worth. I wasn't going to stay with someone who didn't even have the decency to be honest with me. And as painful as it was, I knew I had to walk away. I needed to protect myself and my future. But here's the thing, I didn't want to make a scene. I didn't want to drag this out for weeks, trying to salvage something that was already gone. I needed closure. I needed to move on, and I needed her to understand that what she did was unforgivable. I called her that evening, and when she picked up, I told her we needed to talk. I didn't give her the chance to speak until I was finished. I told her everything I was feeling, the hurt, the anger, the betrayal. I didn't mince words. I told her that I knew about the affair, the lies, the hotel receipt, and that I couldn't pretend everything was fine anymore. Her response? Typical. She acted all surprised and tried to deny it, saying I was overreacting and blowing things out of proportion. But honestly, at that point, I didn't care about her excuses anymore. I wasn't interested in hearing more of her lies. I calmly told her that I was done, that I wasn't going to fight for a marriage that she clearly didn't care about anymore. The worst part? She didn't even try to change my mind. She didn't beg or apologize. She just said, fine, if that's what you want. And that was it. We hung up and I knew in my heart that was the last time I'd ever speak to her with the same love and trust one once had. The decision felt like a weight lifting off my chest. It wasn't easy, but it felt necessary. I knew it would hurt probably for a long time, but it was the only way to move forward. I didn't know what my next steps would be, but at least I knew that I was done living in the lies she had created. I had to start healing. And for the first time in a long while, I felt like I had taken control of my life again. Part 6, Conclusion. It's been a few weeks since I made the decision to leave, and to be honest, I still don't know if I'm fully okay. There are days when I feel like I'm fine and other days when the grief hits me hard. But I think I'm starting to understand something that's been so hard for me to accept. The relationship I thought I had with her was never as strong as I imagined. It was built on things I wanted to believe were true, not on solid trust and respect. I've learned that sometimes, no matter how much you love someone or how much you want something to work, you can't force a relationship that isn't right anymore. I've spent too much of my life trying to fix things, trying to hold onto something that was already broken. And in doing that, I've been neglecting myself. I was so focused on her and honest that I lost sight of who I was, what I wanted, and what I needed. I don't blame myself for what happened, but I do regret letting myself get so deep into denial. So where am I now? I'm focusing on me. I'm taking time to rediscover who I am outside of the relationship, doing things I enjoy, and spending time with people who actually make me feel valued. I've been seeing a therapist, which has been a huge help in processing all this. The pain is still there, but I'm starting to realize that healing doesn't have to happen overnight. It's a process. And to anyone else going through something similar, here's what I'd say: trust your instincts. Don't ignore the signs when something feels off, and don't convince yourself that it's just a phase or that it'll get better on its own. I wish I had trusted my gut sooner. If you find yourself constantly doubting your partner, or if they're giving you reasons to feel insecure, don't wait until things explode. Take care of yourself. Don't let anyone make you feel crazy for questioning things that are, in the end, valid concerns. I'm not sure what the future holds, whether I'll date again, whether I'll ever trust someone the way I trusted her, but I know this: I deserve better. And that's enough for now. Part 7, Moving Forward. So, now that I'm a few weeks into this new chapter of my life, I've had some time to reflect on what moving forward really means. I won't lie, there are days when it still hits me like a ton of bricks. The loneliness, the memories of how good things used to be, how much I once loved her, it all feels like a punch to the gut at times. But I'm learning to accept it. Learning that it's okay to mourn the person I thought I knew, but also realizing that the person I'm becoming is someone stronger, someone more aware of my own worth. I've started keeping myself busy with things I've ignored for years. I've picked up hobbies again, things I used to love doing before my life revolved so much around her and us. I'm reintroducing myself to parts of me I had forgotten existed. I've even gotten back into my fitness routine, which always made me feel better but got pushed aside when life got busy. One thing I've noticed is that the emotional weight of everything has started to feel a little lighter. I won't pretend like it's easy or that I'm over it. I still have days where I catch myself thinking about her, wondering if she's really as happy as she pretended to be. But I've learned to just sit with those feelings without letting them consume me. They don't define me and they don't dictate my future. And here's the weird part: I'm starting to realize that maybe, just maybe, I'm grateful for the way things ended. I know that sounds strange, but hear me out. What she did to me was awful. But it also taught me so much about myself, about my limits, my strength, and my ability to move forward even when I feel completely broken. If I had stayed, I would have just continued sacrificing my own happiness to try to fix something that wasn't meant to be fixed. I would have kept ignoring the red flags, kept telling myself that it was just a rough patch and that we'd get through it. But now I get to choose a different path. One where I prioritize me. One where I choose honesty, trust, and real love, things I had been too willing to compromise on before. I don't know what's next. I don't know if I'm ready to date again or if I'll even want it anytime soon. But for the first time in a long time, I'm not rushing into anything. I'm focusing on my own growth and healing. And for anyone reading this who might be going through something similar, take your time. Don't let anyone rush your healing process. Trust that eventually the right path will make itself clear. It's okay to take a step back, focus on yourself, and rebuild. You owe it to yourself to heal. You deserve peace. I know I'm not fully healed yet, but I'm getting there. And that's enough for now. Part 8, Unexpected Support. Here's something I wasn't expecting: the support I've gotten from some people in my life. You always hear about how bad things can get when relationships fall apart, and I was bracing myself for the worst. But what I didn't realize was that some people around me, people I didn't even expect to be that close to, have stepped up in ways I never anticipated. I've had a few friends reach out to me, just checking in, offering their support. A couple of them have gone through their own heartache, so they've been more than understanding. One of them, a guy I've known for years but never really got that close with, invited me to hang out and do something totally random, a weekend camping trip. At first, I was hesitant. I didn't want to go out and put on a face for anyone, but he was persistent. "Dude, you need a change of scenery," he told me. "It's just a couple of days. You don't have to talk about anything. Just get away and breathe for a bit." I thought it was a terrible idea, but something about his insistence made me realize maybe it was exactly what I needed. So I went. And honestly, it was probably one of the best decisions I could have made. I didn't have to explain anything to anyone. I didn't have to fake being okay. It was just me and some fresh air, sitting around a campfire with a friend who didn't push me to talk about my divorce or offer any unsolicited advice. He just let me exist. And that meant more than I can put into words. It was a reminder that I still have people in my corner. It was easy to feel isolated in the aftermath of everything, but I'm starting to realize that I don't have to go through this alone. I've got friends, family, and even some coworkers who have reached out offering a listening ear or just checking in with me to make sure I'm doing all right. That's been another key part of my healing process, leaning into those relationships, letting people show up for me in ways I never thought they would. It feels strange to accept help when I'm used to being the one who takes care of others, but I'm learning that it's okay to let people take care of me for a change. And if there's one thing I've learned from this whole mess, it's that you never know who's going to show up for you when you need it most. That support has made me feel less alone, even though I'm still processing everything. If you're reading this and feeling like you've got no one in your corner, I promise there's someone out there who cares. Maybe it's not always who you expect, but people care. You just have to let them. Don't isolate yourself. We all need help at some point, and it's okay to lean on others. I'm still figuring things out, but the journey doesn't feel quite as lonely as it did a few weeks ago. And that's a win in my book. Part 9, The Weight of Her Lies. I think one of the hardest things to deal with in all of this is the lies. She didn't just lie about the affair, she lied about everything. The way she manipulated situations, twisted my concerns, and acted like everything was my fault, it still makes my stomach churn. It's like I was living with a stranger for all these years, not someone I actually knew or trusted. What's been hitting me the hardest is realizing how much she must have been deceiving me, not just about the affair, but about everything else. I look back at all the moments where I thought we were happy, and now I wonder how much of that was genuine. Were those moments of intimacy real? Or was she just putting on an act, knowing she was doing something behind my back? It's been a punch to the gut each time I remember something we did together that felt like a real moment, because now it feels like it was all built on lies. I can't even watch certain shows we used to watch together without feeling sick to my stomach. Every memory feels tainted now. And here's the kicker, I spent so many years trying to make her feel appreciated, trying to make her feel heard. I thought if I gave her everything she wanted, it would fix whatever was wrong with our marriage. I invested so much of myself into her happiness, thinking if she was happy, everything would fall into place. But now? I realized she was taking all of that and giving none of it back. She was taking my trust, my love, and my effort and using it as a cover for the lies she was living. I never imagined I would end up in this position. I never imagined that the person I trusted more than anyone could hurt me so deeply. And I guess the hardest part is coming to terms with the fact that none of it was real for her. She was never fully present. She was never fully honest. Now, when I think about her, it's not with the anger I expected. It's more of a dull sadness. I feel sorry for the person she must have become to keep up that facade. I wonder how long she had been living in that place where she felt like she needed to lie to protect herself or her image. I almost pity her, in a way, because it must have been exhausting to keep up the act. But then I remind myself none of that matters. What matters is that I'm no longer a part of that world. And what matters is that I get to choose a different, healthier future. It's just going to take time to get over the fact that someone I loved could lie to me so easily. Part 10, The Anger That Never Seems to Fade. As much as I try to stay focused on moving forward, the anger still hits me from time to time. It's not constant, but when it comes, it's overwhelming. I think what frustrates me the most is how easily she did it. The affair, the lies, everything. How could she look me in the eye for years, pretending everything was fine, while hiding this massive betrayal behind closed doors? I can't stop thinking about how comfortable she must have gotten with it all, how it became second nature for her to lie, manipulate, and act like I wasn't even worth the truth. There are moments when I catch myself imagining the worst, her laughing with him, talking about me like I was just some obstacle in her way while I was over here giving her everything. Every time I picture that, a wave of rage washes over me. I want to scream, to smash something, but I can't. I'm not that person. But the anger is still there, lurking, and it burns hotter when I remember the way she gaslighted me. The way she twisted everything, telling me I was crazy for thinking something was off. That kind of manipulation, it's a special kind of cruelty. What's been frustrating, though, is the way she continues to act like everything is fine. When I run into her, it's like she's trying to convince me that I'm the one who messed up. Like she's moved on and I'm still stuck in the past. It's like she's completely erased everything we had, as if none of it ever mattered. She'll even smile, acting like I'm just some guy from her past, and it makes my blood boil every time. But at the same time, I try to remind myself that her behavior doesn't define me. I won't let her actions drag me down any further. This anger, this need for justice, won't bring me peace. And I know I have to let it go if I want to keep moving forward. But it's not easy. It's like this little fire that keeps reigniting, and I have to constantly smother it before it grows. I guess the thing I'm realizing is that I'm not going to get some grand apology or acknowledgement from her. She's not going to own up to what she did, not fully at least. And as much as I want that, I can't keep waiting for something that's never coming. It's going to take time to heal and the anger will probably pop up now and then, but I know one thing for sure, I can't let it control me. The only way to get through this is to let it burn itself out and focus on my own peace. It's hard to not be consumed by it, but I'm trying. I have to try. Part 11, the guilt I didn't expect. What's been surprising to me and what I didn't anticipate is the guilt. I wasn't ready for that. After everything she did to me, after the betrayal, I thought I would just feel righteous anger or pain. But there's this lingering feeling in my gut, a sense of guilt that I can't seem to shake. It's almost like I feel responsible for the whole thing. I keep wondering if there was something I missed, some way I could have done better. Was I not attentive enough? Did I take her for granted? Was I the one who pushed her away in some way that made her feel like she needed to cheat? I know logically that the answer is no, that this was her choice and her betrayal. But emotionally? My mind doesn't always listen to logic. I start to question myself, my own worth. Was I enough for her? Was I ever enough? I find myself wondering if I failed somehow, like if I had done something differently maybe she wouldn't have strayed. It's this deep, gnawing feeling that I'm somehow complicit in what happened even though I know I'm not. I think part of it is the shame that comes with feeling like I should have known sooner. Why didn't I see the signs? Why did I let myself be so blind to the changes in her behavior? I hate that part of me feels like I should have been able to fix everything to somehow stop this from happening. And then there's the guilt of still caring about her. Despite everything, I still have moments where I miss her. Not the person she's become, but the woman I thought I knew, the one I loved. I miss the way we used to laugh together, the inside jokes, the small, silly things that made up the life we had. It's hard to completely erase that part of myself that still wishes things could have been different. But again, I have to remind myself that I did everything I could. I was committed, I was loyal, I loved her with everything I had. The guilt doesn't serve me. It doesn't change the past or fix anything. It's just a way for me to continue to suffer over something I can't control anymore. I'm trying to let go of it. Slowly. Because I know the only person responsible for her actions is her. I didn't make her cheat, I didn't cause her to lie. But the guilt is hard to push away, especially when the feelings of worthlessness creep in. I'm still working on convincing myself that I'm enough, that I didn't deserve any of this. And that's going to take time. Part 12, the first steps to forgiveness. I've come to realize that forgiveness, at least for now, isn't about her. It's not about giving her the ability to walk away from this with some sort of clean slate. It's about me. And I never imagined I would get to a point where I could even entertain the idea of forgiving her for what she did, but here I am, slowly starting to understand that forgiveness is something I need for my own peace of mind. It doesn't mean I'm excusing her actions or saying what she did was okay, it's just something I'm doing for myself to let go of the bitterness and anger that's been consuming me. At first, the idea of forgiving her felt impossible. How could I forgive someone who tore apart my life like that? Someone who lied to my face, destroyed my trust, and made me question everything I knew about love? How could I possibly let go of the anger when I still felt like she owed me so much, an apology, an explanation, something? But I've started to understand that carrying that anger around, holding onto it, isn't doing anything for me. It's not making me stronger, it's only keeping me stuck. And that's what I don't want. I don't want to keep living in this cycle of hatred and resentment because it's eating away at me, piece by piece. I'm not at the point where I can call her up and tell her I forgive her. I'm not there yet. But I'm working on it. I'm working on forgiving myself for all the guilt I've carried, forgiving myself for staying in a relationship that wasn't healthy, and forgiving her for me. I know forgiveness isn't something that happens overnight, and I'm not trying to rush it. But I'm taking small steps. And the thing that's helping me most is remembering that forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. I don't have to be friends with her, and I don't have to let her back into my life in any way. I can forgive and still walk away, and that's what I'm doing. I'm forgiving her not because she deserves it, but because I deserve the peace that comes with letting go of all this anger. I'm learning that forgiveness is something I give to myself, not to her. It's about freeing myself from the chains that she's left around my heart so I can start moving forward without being weighed down by the past. It's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, but I know it's the right path for me to start healing completely. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying it's possible. And if you're in a similar place, maybe you can try the same thing. Start with forgiving yourself. You're the one who matters in this process. Part 13, the unexpected sense of relief. I never thought I'd feel this way, but I'm starting to experience moments of relief. After everything, the betrayal, the anger, the confusion, I didn't expect to find any peace. But here I am, slowly feeling it seep into my life. It's been weeks since the confrontation, and although I still have my bad days, the weight of the whole situation doesn't feel as crushing anymore. It's like a heavy fog is beginning to lift, and for the first time, I'm seeing glimpses of the life I can build without all the chaos she brought. I went to therapy last week, and something my therapist said really stuck with me. You don't have to forget what happened, but you can choose to stop letting it define who you are now. That hit me hard. For so long, I thought that I'd always be the person who got cheated on, that the shadow of her betrayal would always follow me. But hearing that, it made me realize that I don't have to let this define me. I don't have to keep carrying this burden. I can put it down. I can choose to heal, to be a stronger version of myself. I've started to take care of my mental health more than I ever did before. I've always been the kind of guy who just powered through things, ignoring my own needs, but now I'm focusing on getting to a better place. I've been sleeping better, eating better, exercising, and honestly, I can already tell a difference. I feel less exhausted, less like I'm in a fog all the time. And for the first time in months, I woke up without that constant pit in my stomach. I didn't wake up thinking about her, about the lies, about the betrayal. I woke up thinking about my day, my goals, what I wanted to do for myself. That might sound small, but it felt huge. It's like I've started to reclaim parts of myself that I didn't even realize I'd lost. I'm not going to lie and say I'm healed completely because I'm not. But I'm not where I was a few weeks ago either. The relief that comes from no longer being weighed down by anger, guilt, and confusion is real, and it's giving me the energy to start looking forward, not back. It's a strange feeling, this sense of clarity, like my life is my own again. It's refreshing. I feel like I'm starting a new chapter, one where I'm in control of my own story, and the last one is slowly becoming a thing of the past. I know there will still be hard days, moments when I want to cry or scream, but right now I'm just thankful for the peace I'm starting to find. It's one step at a time, and that's enough for now. Part 14. Finding New Purpose. There's a new feeling creeping in now, something I didn't expect after all of this, a sense of purpose. It's been a long time since I thought about what I actually want in life, outside of my relationship, outside of all the emotional chaos I've been wrapped up in. For so long, I thought my life was about us, about making sure my wife was happy, making sure everything was right in our marriage. But now I'm remembering what it feels like to focus on myself, to chase my own goals and passions. I've always been someone who tried to make others happy. I put their needs above mine because it felt good to be needed. But now, I realize how much I've neglected my own desires. I've spent so many years telling myself that the perfect relationship would make me feel whole, but I see now that I was putting all my value in someone else's hands. I was relying on her approval, her love, to define my worth. But this is different. I've started working on things I care about. I've signed up for a painting class, something I've wanted to do for ages but never made time for. I've started playing music again. Little things that have been buried under the weight of my old life. It feels good to have something that's just for me, something that brings me joy without having to share it with anyone. It's not that I want to shut myself off from the world. I'm not ready to dive into a new relationship, but I'm learning to embrace new connections even with myself. I've spent so many years thinking that I was incomplete without someone else, and now I'm discovering the power in standing on my own 2 feet. There's something liberating about learning that I don't need validation from anyone to feel worthy. I'm okay just as I am. And that's been one of the most eye-opening realizations. I've learned to be proud of myself for standing up, for facing the betrayal head-on, and for choosing to move forward even when I wanted to give up. I've been spending time with friends, reconnecting with people I lost touch with. I've been putting more effort into my career, thinking about long-term goals that don't involve anyone else. And every time I achieve something, whether it's finishing a project at work or hitting a personal goal, it feels like I'm reclaiming my life, piece by piece. I know this journey isn't over, and there will still be days when I miss her, when the anger flares up, or when I find myself doubting my choices. But what I'm learning is that I don't have to let those moments define me. I can acknowledge them, feel them, and then move on. The last few months have been the hardest of my life, but they've also been the most transformative. And right now, for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm on the path to becoming the person I was always meant to be. I still have a lot of healing to do, but I'm beginning to see that I'm stronger than I ever gave myself credit for. And I think that's the most important thing I've learned. I am enough on my own. Part 15. Reflection and Advice to Others. Looking back at everything, at the pain, the anger, the heartbreak, I realize how much I've grown in such a short period of time. It feels like a lifetime ago when I first found out about the affair, and while the scars will always be there, they don't feel as sharp anymore. The constant weight that used to hang over me is slowly lifting, and I feel like I've started to rebuild my life piece by piece. What strikes me now is how easy it is to lose yourself when you're in a relationship. You get so wrapped up in another person's happiness that you forget your own. You put your heart into someone who doesn't value it the way you do, and suddenly you're lost in a relationship that's built on lies, not love. I don't regret the love I gave her, but I regret not prioritizing myself sooner. For anyone out there reading this who's in a similar situation, here's what I'd say. Don't wait. Don't wait for things to get better on their own, and don't convince yourself that this is the only love you'll ever have. You deserve honesty, respect, and real love. And if someone can't give you that, then they're not worth your time. It's okay to take time for yourself. It's okay to grieve, to be angry, to question everything. But don't let the anger consume you. Don't let someone else's actions dictate your future. I spent too much time letting her lies define me. I let the betrayal become my identity. But I'm learning to shed that. I'm learning to step into who I am now, not who I used to be. I can't tell you how long it takes to heal from something like this. Everyone's journey is different. But what I can tell you is that you can heal. It won't be easy and it will take time. But trust me, you will come out the other side stronger and you will find peace again. I still have my tough days, but I don't feel like I'm living in the past anymore. I've made peace with what happened and I'm choosing to move forward one day at a time. If you're struggling with a betrayal, I just want you to know it's not the end of your story. It's a chapter, but not the whole book. You are not defined by the hurt, the lies, or the betrayal. You get to choose what happens next. And as hard as it is to admit, I'm grateful for what I've learned in all of this. I'm stronger than I thought, and I know now that I deserve better. And so do you.